So you'll be starting today. You'll have today and tomorrow to work on this in class. Okay, the research project for the chemistry unit, right? And you're going to be researching a toxic chemical of your choice. Okay. Now, there's going to be some different things that you're going to need to look at in terms of what you're researching and what you're telling me about this toxic, chemical. Okay. So, in this project, you are to examine the effect of long-term exposure to a toxic chemical. That's going to include not only the health effects of the chemical on the people exposed, but also the societal costs. That is, healthcare, taxation, government regulations, etc., okay, and the impacts of people using or being exposed to this chemical. That could be things like behavioral costs, addiction treatment, emotional impacts, etc. Okay, so basically, this assignment is broken up into two parts. The first part will be you tell me about the chemical nature of your toxin. Okay, is it ionic? Is it molecular? Okay, that kind of thing. What is it about it that makes it toxic? What are the effects on the human body? Okay, and then the other part of it is the societal effect of that toxin. How does that affect me as a person who is not exposed to that chemical? Okay, so as an example, right, if I choose not to smoke crack, which I choose not to, okay, right. There are still societal effects of people who do. Okay? Those societal effects still affect me. Okay? As a member of this society, they still affect me. Okay? How do they affect me? Well, for example, someone who smokes crack is far more likely to wind up engaging in criminal activities. Can that affect me? Yeah, they might break into my car and steal stuff. Okay? Or they might break into my house and try and steal stuff. That affects me. Okay? That's a societal effect. Okay? They are eventually probably going to end up in jail. Okay? Who pays for that? Me. Yeah, that's a taxpayer, right? I pay for that. That's a societal cost. Okay? They probably are going to end up in the hospital at some point. Who pays for that? Me. Yeah, Joe Blow taxpayer. I pay for that. Okay? That's how things work. Okay? Those are societal effects. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have publicly funded healthcare. I think that's awesome. Okay, that's what separates us from our neighbors to the south. Okay, is that we believe in taking care of each other no matter what. I think that's important. I think that's a great thing. I like the idea that if I get sick and have to go to the hospital, I won't be financially ruined because of it. Okay, there's a big issue with that if you don't have publicly funded healthcare. Okay, does publicly funded healthcare cost a lot of money? Yes. Okay, in Alberta alone, healthcare is $1 billion a day. Okay? Okay? It's huge. Okay? It's huge. You think about it. How many hospitals are being run in this province right now? A lot. Okay. Now, you have to have a fair amount of professional staff at that hospital, right? Some of whom probably make $250,000 or more a year. Okay? If you have, let's say, 2 doctors in there, okay, you're looking at nearly $750,000 in salary for those 2 doctors. There's more than 2 doctors most likely in that hospital. Okay? You look at how many nurses need to be in that hospital. Nurses make, pretty good money. Okay? They earn it for sure. I wouldn't want that job, but they make pretty good money. And that's just the professional staff. Now you've got all the people that are cleaning the place. Okay? You've got the heating bills. You've got the cost of all the materials in there. Okay, you think about it, you can only use a syringe once. Okay, once you throw it away, okay, it has to be incinerated. There's a lot of costs that go into running healthcare. Okay, and then you've got all the indirect costs of healthcare, lab work, lab facilities. Okay, like you go down to urgent care here, get your blood tested. Okay, you're paying the person who takes your blood. You're paying for the materials to take your blood. You're paying for the lab tech who actually does the lab tests on your blood, the transport of your blood to the proper lab facilities. Okay, there's costs and costs and costs associated with healthcare. It's huge, absolutely huge. Okay, it's a major expenditure. Education is the second thing. All right, so those are societal costs. Okay, things like insurance. Okay, if somebody chooses to, get drunk and then get behind the wheel of their car, okay. That's a bad decision, obviously, okay? But if they do that, they are probably going to get in an accident. They're probably going to hurt somebody. That's going to affect insurance costs. That's going to affect hospitals and all of that, okay? There's societal costs to everything. Those are the kind of things you want to look at. I'm not looking for a dollar figure, okay? When I say societal cost, I'm not looking for you to say, well, one person who smokes crack costs the taxpayer this many dollars per year. You're never going to find that number. Okay, I'm sure somebody out there has figured it out, but you're never going to find that number. Okay, so we're not looking for that. We're just looking for, can you analyze and look at the big picture? Okay, that's what we're looking for here. Okay, so the scope of this paper is to go beyond an examination of the health issues to encompass the societal effects as well. So some suggestions for your project could be health hazards due to excessive consumption of alcohol and nicotine or other drugs, exposure to toxic substances like, I put this one in as a joke, mercury in amalgam dental fillings. Okay, you guys, does anyone here have fillings? Like your generation's got really good dental hygiene. But, okay, you guys probably don't have any of the silver colored ones because they don't use those anymore. Okay, I have one. Okay, it's my only filling and it's an amalgam filling. Well, back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, a couple of dentists in the States like put out this big scare campaign about how there was mercury in your fillings and it was slowly killing you. Okay, and people bought it. These guys got rich, pulling perfectly good fillings out of people's teeth and replacing them with the ceramic ones. Now, the ceramic ones are better. Okay, certainly. They don't have other stuff in them. That's fine. They match your teeth color way better than does silver. Okay, but there's more mercury in a can of tuna than there is in a dental filling. And the last time I checked, my fillings weren't dissolving. Right? So the mercury was staying in the filling. It wasn't dissolving and going into my system. And even if I swallowed the filling, okay, I'm not going to absorb that much mercury from it. It's just going to go up the other end. Okay, but they had people totally believing that they were going to die if they kept their fillings and actually to jail for fraud. But yeah, but there's things like this that people believe, right? So radon buildup in homes, that can be a big one. Okay, all new homes actually now have a special pipe built into the foundation and the floor, okay, where you can put radon devices and stuff like that in order to get rid of radon. Environmental concerns related to handling, storage, and disposal of heavy metals, strong acids, flammable gases, or any other topic you have interest in. Okay, so you can pick a toxic chemical. Its toxic nature has to be chemical, however. Okay, it can't be radiological. I often have people say, "Well, I'm going to do this on uranium." Uranium is not chemically toxic. Uranium is radiologically toxic. It's radioactive. That's a different type of toxic. Okay. Same with someone said, "Well, I'm going to do mine on Ebola." Well, that's a biological toxin. That's different. Same with botulism. Okay, like the stuff we use in Botox. That's a biological toxin. It's not a chemical toxin. Okay. So this needs to be a chemical toxin. Yes. Can you do drug? Can you do your project on drugs? You can do your project on drugs. We shouldn't do drugs. Yeah, you can do your project on a drug, but remember, it needs to be on the specific chemical. Okay, like I've had people do this project, and their whole project is all about marijuana, and instead of focusing on THC, right, which is the stuff that's in it, okay, we need to focus on the chemical toxin itself.
Can there be like positive societal benefits to it?
Absolutely, yes.
So you're saying we can do a project on that?
Yes, you can do your project on that. Yeah. Okay. All right, so here's your outline for your project. Okay, in your project you need to report on the chemical nature of your toxin. What type of chemical is it? Ionic, molecular, organic? Okay, is its chemical nature or chemical structure related to its toxicity? What is it about it that makes it toxic? Like for example, if you're looking at hydrochloric acid, the fact that it's an ionic compound containing hydrogen makes it acidic, and that would be its chemical nature. Okay, how does it cause damage to human tissue? Okay, maybe this is some sort of neurotoxin that interferes with the transmission of neural impulses through the neurons or something like that. Okay, what are its toxic effects? Okay, what are the symptoms that a victim may exhibit? Okay, and obviously there's some obvious ones. Okay, but there could be also some minor ones that doctors might look at. One of the things that if a doctor suspects you might have heavy metal poisoning, one of the things they'll look at is your hair and fingernails. Okay, heavy metal poisoning often shows up in keratin, the stuff that's in your hair and fingernails, and you'll actually get like faint striking on your fingernails as a result of heavy metal poisoning. It's one of the things they can look for. Okay, your hair will start to kind of different in like more brittle and stuff like that. Okay, In terms of these, you don't need to start freaking out, okay? In terms of the societal effects, the area is more open. Things to explore, maybe whether exposure to the toxin is by choice, so if it's a drug like alcohol or nicotine, okay, or in the workplace, okay, or in nature, okay. What are the costs? And again, I said we don't want a dollar figure here. Look at load on hospitals, man hours lost to illness. Okay, that's a big one. Okay, man hours lost to illness. Think about this. Okay, if I call in sick, okay, I have a certain number of sick days, right? So if I call in sick, I still get paid for that day because I have a certain number of paid sick days. But it costs the school division twice as much money to run this class that day because they're not only paying me to not be here and be sick, they're paying a sub to be here in front of me instead. Okay, that's man hours lost to illness. Okay, anytime people are away from work, it costs money, especially in a place where they have to be replaced for that day. Okay, if you're just in a private sector job where you're I don't know, compiling reports, they could probably let that job go for a day and you'll just be a little bit behind when you come back. But okay, with something like this, they have to have somebody here.
So are we presenting this in the class?
No, you're just sending it in.
Okay.
You can choose. I'll be careful. All right. Treatment centers. Okay, that's another big one. Okay, if this is something like if it's drugs, for example, then there's drug addiction treatment centers. Most of those are publicly funded. Okay, imaging facilities. So if you need to get an MRI or things like that, I mean, there's a huge wait time for things like that. Okay, and that's because so many people need them. Right? If there's more and more people doing things that are irresponsible, and as a result they're putting a load on the system, it may be 6 or 8 months before you get an MRI on your busted up knee. Okay, because you're not emergent, right? So it's not an emergency for you to get in. So things like that are costs for our society in general. Okay, does the government have regulations related to this toxin? Are there exposure limits? Are there age regulations? Is it legal to possess the substance at all? For example, to buy half the chemicals that are in our laboratory, we have like a special purchasing number. Okay, that says we are a school, therefore we are authorized to have these chemicals, authorized to purchase these chemicals. Joe Blow citizen can't go up and buy half the chemicals in their lab. Okay, which is a good thing, right? It's that whole homeland security thing. Okay? Not building bombs and stuff. Okay, all right. So those are things to think about. Okay, and then finally at the end, have an opinion. Okay, so maybe a short paragraph based on what you learned about this toxin. What are your feelings on it? Should it be banned? Should there be greater restrictions or lowered restrictions or regulations put on its use, disposal, etc. All right. So everyone kind of follow what the expectations are for the report itself. Okay. Now. That part of it there is like 10 out of the 25 marks. Okay? The rest of this has to do with planning. It has to do with citing of references. Okay? The overall impression that your report makes. Okay? Things like that.
Being counted as a toxin.
Sure. You'll find lots of it. Okay. So citing your references. Because this is a research project, you're going to be going to various websites or reading books or whatever. Okay, you need to cite those as places where you have taken information from. Now remember, you cannot just copy and paste. Okay, if you just copy and paste from somebody else's website or report or professional paper, that's plagiarism. Okay, plagiarism is illegal, and you don't learn anything from it. Okay. The other big part of it is if you do it a lot, it becomes a habit, and if they catch you at university, you get punted. Okay, you don't get your money back, and it follows you around like a criminal record. Okay, I knew a guy who got caught in university for plagiarism. He got thrown out of university, and he could not get in anywhere else. Okay, as soon as they saw that he'd been kicked out of university for plagiarism, everyone turned him away. Okay, it can be a life-changing decision. So don't do it. It's bad. Okay.
What happens if you just forgot to cite your source on a university page?
They wouldn't kick you out, but you would be forced to do it. Yeah. Okay. What I'm talking about is you find this website that basically has exactly this report on it, and you copy and paste it, and you say, "Here it is, Mr. Coder. I did absolutely nothing. I don't know." Yeah. I'll figure that out. Okay. Because I've had people try that. Okay, there's lots of things that I look for. Okay, that can tell me whether you've copied and pasted stuff from somebody else. Okay, there's lots of signs of that, and Google is awesome. okay, for being able to locate plagiarized material. Okay, like basically I'll figure it out. And if I do, what will you get? Yeah, you'll get a 0. Okay, so I don't want that for you. I don't want to have to do that. Okay, so just learn something from this and do it yourself. Okay. All right. When you are citing your references, there is a certain format in which you must do this. Okay, and this should come at the end of your report. So either have if you're doing this in slides, okay, then put it on the last slide. If you're doing this just in Google Docs, then put it at the end. Okay, but the format should go like this for a website. Okay, so author's name. That's the hardest thing to find, oddly enough. Okay, it's oftentimes hard to find the author's name on a website. Okay, you're gonna have to look around for it. Okay, but you should be able to find it. If you can't, try the Contact Us button that every website has. Okay, see if you can get an author's name for that. If in the end you've tried and you absolutely can't find an author's name, then you can put author unknown. But if you have 5 references that all say author unknown, I'm going to say you can try hard enough. Okay. So author's name, date the article was posted. Hopefully it's newer than that. Okay, because that's like really old. Okay, and then the name of the article. So this article was Vive le Quebec, Vive le Canada. Okay, and it was on the website called the Daily News. Okay, so this is the name of the article. This is the name of the website. Right. Then you're going to have the URL. Right. So www. I promise not to copy and paste stuff from this website.com. Okay. All right. And then the day you accessed it. So that will be September 24th, 2019. Okay. Or whatever day it is that you access it. Okay. That's what you need to have in there. And you must have a minimum of 5 references for this project. Okay. Minimum. All right. Guys, this is the easiest, second easiest 5 marks in this assignment. But it's also the 5 marks that people screw up all the time. Inevitably, what I get is people say that their bibliography is 5 URLs. They just write www.ididn'tlistentomrquader.com, www.iwillinglyaccept 1 out of 5 for my references.com, okay, etc., etc. Okay, if all you write is just www.google.com, that's a search engine. It's not even a website. Okay, it's not a properly cited reference. This is what a properly cited reference from the internet looks like. If you're using a book or a magazine, then it looks like the one above. Okay, but for probably most of you, this is the format that you'll need to use. Everybody follow me on that? Okay, that's included in the project in the Google Classroom thing on the PDF document. Okay, all right. Planning. Planning is the easiest 5 marks. Okay, I want to see 2 out of the 3 things that I say here. Okay, so everybody needs to have a timeline. Okay, that you must show. The timeline is very simple. You can write September 24th, started researching for my project. Okay, September 25th, put together introductory paragraph and continued research on project. Just every time you work on it, write it down on the timeline. Okay, even if that means that on October the 8th, okay, the night before it's due, you write on there, finished, whole project, because I left it for the last minute. Okay, I don't care. Just have a timeline for when you worked on it. Or use the timeline to plan when you're going to work on it and set aside time for it. But everybody needs to include a timeline. Everybody clear on that? Yes. Okay. Your other planning mark can be either an outline or a thought web, whichever makes more sense to you. Okay? If you want to just have a thought web, where in the middle you've got Mercury, and then you've got all the bubbles coming off of that for all the things you're going to talk about, that's fine. Or maybe you want to have an outline, paragraph 1, talk about following, paragraph 2, talk about following, one or the other of those. So timeline and either a thought web or outline. Okay? Those are the 2 things you need to have for your planning. Easy 5 marks. Don't forget. Okay? Inevitably, I get a lot of these handed in, and there's no plan. And people lose 5 out of the 25 marks. They forgot the easiest thing. All right, so format, okay, there's a wide range of formats, so you can have your Google Slides, PowerPoint kind of thing, okay, or you can have the Google Docs. I would advise against doing a video for this one. It's way more work, okay, than is necessary, so I would say stick to these 2 things for this one. You should have some visual aids, so there should be pictures, diagrams, graphs, find ways to put those in and work them in, okay, into your project. Be creative, okay, there should be, like, say, some visual aids in there, okay.
Did you say that we should put our planning on the Google Doc?
Yes, yeah, and you can have it either you can probably have it at the end, like with the references cited. Okay. So this is going to require some work beyond the 2 class periods. You're getting today and tomorrow, obviously, to work on that. Okay. Your project should be between 800 and 1,000 words. Now, understand that between 800 and 1,000 words is the bare minimum. Okay. You're not going to get 100% with 800 words. Okay. You're not going to be able to cover everything in the level of detail necessary for 100%. But 800 words to 1,000 words is the bare minimum. To give you an idea, that's a little over a page, single-spaced. Okay. 1,000 words. So you're probably looking at, if it's a Google Doc, a couple of pages worth of text here to do a good job. Okay? Same goes for the Google Slides. Now, on Google Docs, there's a word count tool. It will count the words for you. Google Slides does not have that. So my advice to you would be type it out in Google Docs and then copy and paste into Slides if you decide that's the way it's going to go. Okay? At least that way you'll also get the word count. Okay, so just keep that in mind, guys. 800 to 1,000 words is the bare minimum. I'd say to do a good job, you're looking at probably 1,500 to 1,800. Okay, somewhere in there. That's about 2 pages. Okay, typed. All right. Don't hand in a 5,000. I won't read it all. Okay. Okay. So you're going to be evaluated in 5 categories. Each one is out of 5 marks. So initiating, planning, 5 marks. That's your timeline and either thought, web, or outline. Okay. Analysis and interpretation is basically all that stuff about societal effects and the nature of your toxic chemical. Communication. How well you communicate your ideas in your project. So when I'm reading it, are there kind of segues from one topic to the next? Are things tied together fairly well? Or does it just feel like I'm reading a point form list of things? Okay, I don't want to be reading a point form list of things. Okay, have your ideas tied together. Okay, make sure that it's, there's punctuation. Again, I'm not an English teacher, but I know when an entire paper is one long sentence. Don't laugh. It's happened. There was a capital letter at the beginning and a period at the end. Okay, and there were no other periods. Anyway, it was 1,500 word sentence. Okay? Don't do that, okay? Because I'll notice that. It's really weird, okay? It's like there's no paragraph breaks or rules. Okay, so that's kind of communication there. Spelling mistakes, guys, there's no reason to have spelling mistakes. On a computer, it's got a spell checker, for God's sake. If it's underlined, the thing is spelled wrong, okay? Check it. If you don't, it really says, I don't care. Okay? It really just screams, I don't care. All right, a research and investigation. So that's your references cited. That's your minimum of 5 references cited in the proper format. And then overall, so that's format, creativity, quality of the visual aids that you chose, okay? Things like that. Okay? Everybody with me on that? So it'll be out of 25, and it's due on October the 9th. Right, that's more than 2 weeks away. I always give 2 weeks for these kind of things because apparently there's some sort of revision and editing process that's supposed to go on. That's what the English department tells me, so I just do it for. Okay? All right. Any questions on this? All right, so you can get going. You'll have the rest of class today, which is more than a half an hour yet, and all of tomorrow's class to work on this. Good. It doesn't really matter where it ends up as long as you finish.
Can we do it on gas?
Sure.
We did
Are people slipping into me?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Because it has a whole lot of societal benefits.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I thought it was